Moms for Liberty co-founder sues to keep her threesome sex messages private. I love the picture they got of her. That's just like, okay.
I think she wants to speak to the manager, Rhino.
I think so. I think so. Moms for Liberty co-founder Bridget Ziegler is suing police and prosecutors in Sarasota, Florida to stop them from releasing investigation records related to rape allegations against her husband. So I don't really want to get into this too much because I mostly just want to make fun of the conservative people having threesomes and getting caught aspect of it. But like, her husband was investigated for rape. The police declined to charge, and I don't want to just treat that like that's an automatic exoneration. But it also does sound like there's some sketchy stuff going on with the person who accused him, but the sketchy stuff doesn't necessarily invalidate. So I just don't even want to touch that, because like I'm not going to be out here defending what was he, the chair of his local Republican thingamajig, chairman of the state Republican Party. I'm not going to defend him. Defense. Like, just the fact that he's got that R beside his name means that there is a very high, there's a much higher statistical chance that he has committed sexual assault of some kind just because of that R there. So like, I'm not gonna defend him. Oh, Renee, Teflon fact correction. Solid Teflon is fine. It needs extended heating to release mildly poisonous off-gassing, which birds are weak to. Yeah, but also if you're not, like, if you use like metal tools or whatever, that scratches it a little bit, that will make that process speed up. So like, you do need to be careful with your Teflon. It is safe to use if you use it properly. We were not using it properly. I was also like 12, so anyway, back to the sex messages. So yeah, I'm staying away from that aspect of it, but she's just like, she is now doing a public lawsuit that is going to bring a lot more eyes on her sex messages than if she had just left it alone. So just someone needs to explain the Streisand effect to these people.
The more you don't want people to talk about it, and the more you bitch about it, the more everyone will do it.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing, because like, she co-founded Moms for Liberty, conservative organization, anti-LGBTQ. I guarantee you, if they had an official stance on threesomes, it's going to be against them. And then the chairman of the state Republican Party, organization that is anti-LGBTQ. If they have a stance on threesomes, it'll be against him. And here they are having threesomes. Those are people saying in threesomes you do need consent. You know, my understanding is that the actual threesomes, there was consent. Like, that's not ambiguous whatsoever. She doesn't contest that. So the threesomes were fine, which is why I'm fine making fun of it.
Do you think it's...
Well, part of that is like, if they weren't prominent leaders of these organizations who are so against the kinds of things that they were doing, I wouldn't care. Like, just some random couple from, I don't even know what state they're in, but like some random couple from some conservative state had a threesome. Okay, great. Hope they had fun. That's where it would end if they weren't who they are.
There's a theory I've had about this kind of shit for a while, and I've talked about it a couple times on my channel, but I'll talk about it here too, because I think it bears putting on my tinfoil hat for a second. With the amount of times we find anti-trans legislators...
Call this tinfoil.
Yeah, there you go. With the amount of times we see anti-trans legislators with, you know, trans porn on their phones, with the amount of people who are anti-homosexuality who are found to have hired gay prostitutes during CPAC, with the amount of this that happens, you'd think at some point that they're actually trying to keep this stuff illegal, legislated against, or taboo, because they only get off to it if it's taboo. If the stuff becomes socially acceptable, it becomes boring to them. Now, again, I have no evidence to back this up, and this is the most tinfoil hat theory of all goddamn time. But I still think it holds at least a little bit of water.
Yeah, it's definitely plausible. It's a lot more plausible than Marjorie's dead babies. So Limited Light for $5 says, I'm the guy that turned the AIG Canada woman into an evolutionist. What? An AIG Canada woman turned into an evolutionist?
Huh, interesting.
I'm not familiar with that. Was it like Patricia? Was it Patricia Engler? If so, that's huge news. I need to keep up with this shit.
How long can you keep up a grift? Do.
Yeah. So, yeah, mostly I just wanted to be like, you know, if you guys weren't who you were, just have your threesome. Like, if I had a threesome, nobody would fucking care. If you guys caught me having had a threesome, nobody would care.
I've talked about sexual experiences on my channel. Nobody's cared.
Yeah, no, it does not matter whatsoever. But yeah, no, let's see. We do have some of the text messages, though. Do you want to read some of the text messages?
You know what? Why not?
I don't know how well this is going to show up on the thing. So now this is where they were actually considering not like finding a different woman, because like this is where the kind of sketchy stuff was coming in. She says, I don't want to feel like we ever take advantage of anyone. I know it's always been consensual, but she seems, I don't like to use the word broken, but these people are terrible people, so we can't expect them to use sensitive language. She seems broken, or like she's going through some shit. So like, yeah, there were some red flags, so they were on the hunt for someone new. But let's see, there were some fun ones. I don't think it's this article. I think it was a different one. But yeah, anyway, some of the messages actually have been made public. But yeah, she was voted out of the board meeting for Moms for Liberty, but it was a non-binding vote, so she just stuck around anyway. And the board voted unanimously. Every single person on the board was like, no, we don't want you here anymore. But because it was a non-binding vote, instead of just being like, okay, I will abide by this non-binding vote and, you know, leave because clearly I'm not wanted anymore, she just decided to, like, tough it out and be like, nope, I'm staying. You're stuck with me.
Which, again, you wouldn't have to have any of those conflicts whatsoever if you were just not lying with wolves.
Just have a threesome. But don't be publicly against them. Don't be publicly against same-sex stuff and then have sex with someone who is going to be the same sex as one of the people involved.
Yep. I've never had a homosexual encounter. Did you have a threesome? Well, somebody in there.
That was actually one of the text messages. Was apparently the third woman was another one of the reasons they were looking for someone else, was that she was showing too much interest in her and not in him. So like so it's like, it's not really a threesome. It's like you two are doing something and I am just watching. Which, you know, I feel like that's a fantasy for a lot of guys, but
don't be against the gay then. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, just have your fun. Just have your fun and don't stop other people from having their fun. Is it really that hard?
Yes.
Is it really that hard to like that? That's
it
all.
Has to be for the threesome to work. Don't you understand?
No, that's what dildos are for. But like, all the LGBTQ community wants is live and let live. Let us do our thing. You guys do your thing. If some of our things overlap, great. We can have a good time with the overlap. But if it doesn't, we don't need to interact on that. On that front.
You can have a good time with the overlap, like, specifically at CPAC, sponsored by HeatOut.
All it needs to be. And like, all this bullshit about like compelled speech when it comes to trans people is like, no, it's not fucking compelled speech. Like, if I tell you I use pronouns he, him, you're just going to use he, him. Because I'm a cis guy who passes as he. But like, there have been, like, I've worked in the public sector. I've worked in the service industry. First off, in the service industry, you don't do things to piss off the customers. Ever. So, like, even if you might disagree with the customer, you're going to pretend to agree with them for the most part, as long as it's not, like, something unsafe or whatever. It's, like, the customer is always right, but, like, the actual full quote, the customer is always right in matters of taste. So like if somebody orders something off the menu that I think is gross, but they have said that like, oh no, I actually really like this thing. It's like, well then, you like that thing because you are right in matters of taste. There you go. You get it. But like I've been introduced to people that like I thought that I thought they were the opposite gender from what they were. I've approached people from behind when like, oh, excuse me, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, ma'am. I've had that experience. It is not hard. It was actually like I self-corrected after enough of those experiences to the point where I was using gender-neutral language before I became trans accepting. This was back when I was still a Christian who was anti-LGBTQ. Just for the sake of...
Even bigot Rhino used pronouns. The woke mafia has gone too far.
Well, even bigot Rhino just realized it was just more socially... it just made social situations easier to use gender-neutral pronouns until you know for sure by actually talking to the person.
You know, speaking of that, you bring up a point that I wanted to run by you, see if you had this experience as well. It wasn't until people started making a big deal about they, them being a pronoun. Like, you used to be able to just say, you know, they to refer to somebody where you didn't know their gender, and it was perfectly reasonable, and everybody accepted that. But now, generally, when you say they, if there's somebody who's usually conservative-leaning in the audience... What's going on? Ah!
She's been working on that for so long. I tried dragging out the last news item so I could make this still relevant, but she took too damn long. But the tinfoil hat is here.
Well, at least she got it.
Yeah. Anyway, somebody redeemed a hydrate. I'm going to call that a beer.
But my experience using gender-neutral language used to be easier. And now it seems like it's harder in some conversations because when you say they, somebody will go, what do you mean by they? Is it multiple people? I'm like, yeah. No, I don't mean multiple people. I've never fucking meant multiple people.
I just mean them.
There's very few instances where I mean multiple people. Even when I'm talking about systems, I usually mean the person in the fucking front. So, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, another hydrate. Axo, making me drink water. Anyway, I will save this tinfoil hat in my little hat box.
It will be useful.
I'm sure it will. And actually it's tinfoil, so like I can actually like shape it to go over the headphones instead of...
It'll be useful when I break out this voice, Rhino. What do you think about the globalists, huh?
Do you mean people of a certain religion that get...
No, we're not going there.
That's usually what it means by that.
That's not family friendly, nope.
Is he afraid of being sued by the Rothschild?
Yeah, probably.
Jess is asking if I'm sick. Where have you been this whole stream? I said that right at the beginning. I'm sick,
like
he's tired.
What was the, God, I think there was an old episode of Alex Jones' show, I think, where he had a Penn and Teller on, actually. And they talked about doing drugs at one point, and Alex like got super uncomfortable, and it was just weed. They were just talking about weed, and he's just like, oh, this is a Christian family show. And I'm like, no, the fuck it's not.
Christian family show.
Back
fuck
then,
off.
Back then I accepted that, you know, with fewer caveats. Now I'm just like, it's not a fucking Christian family show. It's neither of those things.
Yeah, Jess said, I missed the I am sick, but that may have been during the 3 minutes I went to make food. Okay, well, let's do some tweets, shall we?
Hey, I just quickly want to give a thank you to all of my wonderful patrons who keep this show running. YouTube and Twitch are a pretty bumpy ride at the best of times, and the stability a Patreon provides me is worth more than I can say here. I'd also like to thank each and every one of my $20 and up patrons here, and they would be Red Joker, Britzkrieg, Cameron, Dren, Jemshin, Smiling DM, Poundini, Mabbity Babbity, Naomi, Isaac, Nixie Chan, the Oberon team, Agamotto, Jordan, Ravi, Giuni, Kiratorian, Prisma, all of you, I'm not saying that part, and Starlight. And finally, thank you to everyone else that helps keep this channel alive. While you're here, why not check out another video? And thank you for watching.